that has gripped Libya. We're into our third night here and the traffic is still steady. Those that are here say they're the lucky ones. They say there are still tens of thousands, if not hundreds, stranded on the other side of the border. They still hold some resentment towards the Egyptian government for not sending in transportation to take them from inside Libya. They say they've had to brave some of the most violent scenes to come inside here. Having said that, the situation on the ground in Libya continues to be on a standstill, and some of these people have taken it upon themselves to bring with them some of the images and shocking video that shows the true extent of the violence they say is perpetrated by Colonel Muammar Gaddafi and forces loyal to him. Jamal Al-Shayal, Al Jazeera, on the Egyptian-Libyan border.
Now, the United Nations' top human rights group is considering recommending the suspension of Libya from the group. At a meeting on Friday, the Human Rights Council has also been discussing whether a team should be sent to Libya to investigate allegations of human rights violations. The crisis has also been high on the Security Council's agenda. That council will also meet later on for more on this. Let's go to the United Nations and our correspondent Kristin Salumi, who's monitoring these events. Kristin, let's just talk about the Human Rights Council first. Well, where are we in these talks? What's the decision going to be?
Well, there's a draft resolution that's being proposed at the Human Rights Council, which calls on the United Nations to provide a team to investigate the situation in Libya. The draft also calls for Libya to be kicked off of the Human Rights Council, or rather starts the process that could lead to Libya being removed from the Council because of its own record. It's a very strongly worded draft. We know it's supported by the United States and other Western countries, France, the United Kingdom, Latin American countries, but so far it's not clear if it actually has enough support to pass as written. A lot of African and Asian countries are not on board. Notably, Russia and China have opposed it. So our understanding is that the negotiations are still taking place. And this resolution will be discussed tomorrow, Friday, in Geneva, and we'll have to see if they can garner enough support to actually pass it through the Council.
Have you had any inkling from the corridors of the United Nations why it is that some people might be opposing this?
Well, it's the standard response. China and Russia and other countries often are reluctant to sanction countries for what is happening inside their own borders. Many countries have human rights issues of their own. Remember, China not so long ago cracked down on democracy protesters in Tiananmen Square. So once you open the door to look at what's happening inside of one country, many countries are concerned that the spotlight could then be turned on them and their own record. And it's a precedent that they're not willing to set, frankly. We've seen that here in the Security Council and also at the Human Rights Council, where these nations kind of protect each other in that way.
All right, Kristin Salumi at the United Nations. Thank you. Now, we will have more on Libya coming up in a short while, including the exiled king's successor has spoken out about the crisis. We'll get the views of the Crown Prince. And inside Tripoli, Al Jazeera's exclusive as thousands of foreign workers try to flee the country.
Welcome back to your international weather forecast. Well, across Japan, we are going to see some very heavy rain showers on Friday. As you can see, those rain showers are also bringing some warmer temperatures. We're looking at Tokyo at about 19 degrees. But as we go into Saturday, those rain showers move out into the Pacific. We get clearer skies, but the temperatures do begin to drop. You can see Tokyo about 10. And we are looking at Osaka at about 14 degrees, but some very good news in the forecast, especially for China, who has been seeing a lot of drought activity over the last couple of decades. This is the worst drought they have seen, but look at this. We are looking at snow in their forecast as well as rain. We're looking at about 60 millimeters, a little bit closer to the coast, but up to 300 millimeters of snow is going to be falling as we go inland. So that's going to be very, very good for the farmers over the next couple of days and into the next couple of weeks because they have finally some precipitation to melt. Down towards southern parts of China, we are looking at very cloudy conditions. Unfortunately, that's not going to change over the next couple of days. Temperatures stay about the same. Hong Kong at 23, Hanoi about 22. And for the next week, it's really going to stay pretty much mild, dry, and we are going to be seeing cloudy conditions there. Down towards Australia, we are looking at some very messy conditions up here to the north. Possibly a cyclone is going to be forming. We'll be keeping you informed on that. Down to the south, though, very warm temperatures.
On the next Riz Khan show, rock star and activist Yusuf Islam, formerly known as Cat Stevens, reveals the origins of his new song celebrating the popular uprisings in Egypt and beyond. Riz Khan, at this time on Al Jazeera.
If you're a Nokia user, you can download Al Jazeera's news widget from Nokia's Ovis store. The news widget, available on compatible Nokia devices, gives users quick and easy access to real-time news updates from Al Jazeera English. See the world in real time. Al Jazeera Mobile.
Hello again. Let's bring you up to speed with the latest developments taking place in Libya. And the leader there, Muammar Gaddafi, has blamed Osama bin Laden for the uprising in his country. He said the al-Qaeda leader has been manipulating his people, and he's reiterated his belief that many of the protesters are acting under the influence of drugs. Meanwhile, the top human rights official in France has said there is evidence to suggest the Libyan leader has committed crimes against humanity, and he says up to 2,000 people may now have been killed. And the United States says it now supports the expulsion of Libya from the United Nations Human Rights Council. A proposal on that particular issue is to be voted on fairly shortly. The Swiss government has also frozen assets belonging to Gaddafi. There's been heavy fighting reported in the town of Zawiya, just 50 kilometers west of Tripoli. A local newspaper says at least 10 people have been killed, dozens more injured. And police and soldiers have reportedly deserted the town of Zuara now, 120 kilometers west of the capital. Witnesses say the people are in control of the town. Meanwhile, former loyalists continue to abandon the colonel, one of Gaddafi's cousins, the latest to leave Libya in protest, and the ambassador to Jordan has resigned. Well, all this turmoil in Libya has also brought up some voices from the country's past. You'll remember that Libya was a monarchy until Gaddafi took power in a coup in the late 1960s. The exiled king that Gaddafi deposed at the time has long since died, but his successor has been speaking in London. He's asking the international community to help remove the colonel from power. Barnaby Phillips went to meet him.
Libya, former Italian colony, becomes an independent state, and the emir Idris el-Senussi is crowned its king, acclaimed by crowds of loyal subjects.
January 1952, and King Idris takes the Libyan throne, a close friend of the West. But the monarchy did not last. Colonel Gaddafi led the 1969 coup, and those loyal subjects quickly changed sides. In London, I've been talking to King Idris's exiled successor, Mohammed, who calls himself the Crown Prince. Is he now in touch with the leaders